Rain hammers the jungle canopy like machine gun fire. 8 Navy SEALs pressed against muddy rocks, trapped in a valley that's become their potential grave. 2 of their best snipers have taken turns behind the scope. Shot after shot echoes through the darkness. Every bullet finds nothing but air and bark. The enemy moves like smoke, disappears like mist. The youngest SEAL whispers through gritted teeth, "Even our best shooters can't touch him. We're done." A small figure in a weathered coat, gray hair, escaping from under a faded cap, quietly pulls an old rifle from a canvas bag. Her eyes catch the moonlight through the scope. One breath, crack. The target drops. The entire team freezes. Who the hell is she? If watching her first shot made your pulse spike, don't look away now. Hit like, tap, subscribe, because the next one will change everything. Elena Torres blends into crowds like water into soil. At 42, her salt and pepper hair frames a face marked by years of carrying weight others can't see. Her thin frame moves through the small town near the naval base with the practiced invisibility of someone who prefers shadows to spotlights. She stocks shelves during the graveyard shift at the local supermarket. Worn sneakers squeak softly against linoleum floors as she arranges canned goods with methodical precision. During breaks, she sits alone in the parking lot, eating cold sandwiches from a paper bag, watching distant lights from the base flicker through chain-link fences. When the SEAL team receives orders for a reconnaissance mission along the Central American border, Elena's name appears on their roster as local guide. The designation carries no fanfare, no special briefing, just a civilian contractor hired to navigate unfamiliar terrain. The SEALs meet her at dawn outside the motor pool. Jenkins, barely 25 with muscles that strain his uniform, takes one look and snorts. "That lady looks like my aunt, not a guide." Martinez adjusts his gear with obvious irritation. "As long as she doesn't slow us down." Elena says nothing. She simply bends down to retie her weathered boots, then quietly distributes water bottles to each team member. Her movements carry an efficiency that goes unnoticed by men focused on their own equipment and egos. Commander Harris, a decorated veteran with 16 years of service, watches Elena check her small backpack one final time. Something in her posture, the way she shoulders her load, the systematic scan of the horizon triggers a memory he can't quite place. But there's no time for analysis. They have a mission. The team moves out in standard formation, Elena trailing behind like an afterthought. She keeps pace without complaint, never asking for rest stops or water breaks. When they navigate rough terrain, she finds paths the others miss. When they need to cross a river, she knows exactly where the current runs shallow. During their first rest stop, Elena pulls out what appears to be an old hunting rifle. The metal shows wear, but no rust. Her hands move across it with practiced familiarity, checking the bolt, examining the scope, running a cloth along the barrel, with movements that speak of muscle memory built over decades. Martinez notices the long scar running down her left forearm, partially hidden by her sleeve. When distant gunfire echoes from a training exercise miles away, Elena's entire posture shifts. Her eyes grow sharp, scanning the tree line, with professional intensity before returning to their usual neutral expression. She offers no explanations, shares no stories during their brief conversations. When Jenkins makes jokes about civilian contractors, Elena simply nods politely and continues her tasks. When the team discusses tactics for their reconnaissance objective, she listens without comment, but her eyes track every detail on their tactical maps. As darkness settles over their first camp, Commander Harris finds himself studying Elena more carefully. There's something about the way she positions herself, always with clear sight lines, always with her back protected. The way she moves through their perimeter without disturbing a single branch or stone. Jones Harris calls softly to his communications specialist. "Run a background check on our guide. Something feels familiar." Elena sits apart from the group, methodically cleaning her rifle under starlight. The weapon is old but maintained with military precision. When she thinks no one is watching, she touches something at her wrist, a marking barely visible in the dim light. Harris whispers to himself, "There's something about her." But what? The jungle around them holds its breath, as if nature itself recognizes that some secrets are about to surface. The canyon walls rise like stone guardians on both sides, creating the perfect kill zone. Commander Harris realizes too late that their intelligence was wrong. This wasn't supposed to be enemy territory. Muzzle flashes light up the ridgelines like deadly fireworks. The SEALs dive for cover behind scattered boulders, but the enemy has chosen their position perfectly. Every angle offers minimal protection. Sniper contact, 2 o'clock high. Jenkins shouts over the crack of incoming rounds. Petty Officer Rodriguez, their primary marksman, slides behind a fallen log and sets up his rifle. Through his scope, he can see the enemy sniper's position, a natural blind built into the cliff face, nearly invisible, except for the occasional muzzle flash. Rodriguez takes his time, controls his breathing, and squeezes the trigger. The shot rings out across the canyon. A chunk of rock explodes where the enemy sniper should be, but return fire immediately proves the target is still active. Missed, Rodriguez mutters, chambering another round. This guy's good. The second shot, another miss. The enemy sniper shifts positions between shots with supernatural speed, like a ghost dancing across the mountainside. Corpsman Willis, their backup marksman, takes over. His reputation for accuracy earned him recognition at Quantico, but the canyon offers no mercy for reputation. 3 shots, 3 misses. Each time, the enemy sniper seems to predict exactly where Willis will aim. I can't get a clean lock, Willis reports, frustration cracking his voice. He's moving before I can even settle on target. The storm rolling in makes everything worse. Radio communications fragment into static bursts. The helicopter extraction they were counting on won't risk flying in this weather. Rain begins to fall in heavy drops that blur scopes and soak equipment. Private Chen clutches his shoulder, where a round grazed him, his uniform darkening with blood. We're sitting ducks down here. Commander Harris tries to establish communication with base, but receives only white noise. They're cut off, outnumbered, and facing an enemy marksman who seems untouchable. We can't win this, Harris growls through clenched teeth. Pull back and pray. That's when they realize Elena's gone. Where's the guide? Martinez spins around, scanning their defensive position. Jenkins points toward the empty space where Elena had been crouching moments before. She ran. I knew we couldn't trust her. The enemy sniper's laughter echoes off the canyon walls, distorted and menacing. A voice calls out in accented English, Americans, your famous SEALs are not so tough. Surrender now and we will make it quick. More enemy fighters begin moving down the canyon walls, emboldened by their sniper's dominance. The noose tightens around the pinned SEAL team. Then the first impossible shot splits the air. Crack. The enemy sniper's rifle spins out of his hands as a bullet strikes his weapon with surgical precision. He staggers backward, clutching his arm, where metal fragments have drawn blood. Crack. A second shot drops one of the advancing fighters. Clean, instant, professional. Crack. A third shot eliminates another threat before the enemy can even locate where the fire is coming from. The remaining hostiles scramble for cover, their confident advance turning into panicked retreat. Shouts in Spanish fill the air as they try to identify this new threat. Commander Harris and his team press themselves lower against their cover, eyes wide with disbelief. The shots are coming from somewhere up the opposite ridge, but they can't see the shooter. Who the hell is that? Willis whispers, his own rifle forgotten. Crack. Another perfect shot drops the enemy commander as he tries to coordinate a response. The bullet finds its mark from what must be over 600 yards away, in failing light through intermittent rain. The surviving enemy fighters begin a full retreat, dragging their wounded with them. In less than 2 minutes, an impossible situation has transformed into complete tactical dominance. The canyon falls silent except for the increasing rainfall and the team's heavy breathing. Rodriguez stares at his rifle, then at the distant ridge where their mysterious savior must be positioned. Those shots! I've never seen anything like it. Martinez keys his radio, hoping to reach whoever just saved their lives. Unknown friendly, this is SEAL Team 7. Identify yourself. No response. Harris lowers his binoculars, his mind racing. The shooting demonstrated skills that go beyond exceptional, they bordered on supernatural. But more importantly, whoever fired those shots knew exactly how to support a pinned SEAL team without endangering friendly forces. That wasn't luck, Harris says quietly. That was training, military training. The rain continues to fall, washing away the immediate evidence of their salvation, while leaving behind questions that demand answers. Through his binoculars, Commander Harris scans the opposite ridge until he finds her. Elena Torres lies prone against the rocky outcrop, her weathered jacket replaced by an improvised ghillie suit constructed from local vegetation. She's become part of the landscape itself, invisible except to trained eyes that know what to look for. The rifle in her hands isn't the hunting weapon they saw earlier. It's a military-grade M40A3, the same model that made legends of Marine Corps snipers in Iraq and Afghanistan. The weapon shows wear consistent with combat deployment, not range practice. Harris adjusts his scope for a closer look. That's when he sees a faded tattoo partially visible on Elena's wrist. The unmistakable image of a Navy SEAL trident, accompanied by Latin text too small to read at this distance. But Harris knows the words. "The only easy day was yesterday." Jenkins whispers beside him, "That's Navy SEAL, but she's..." Elena's rifle speaks again. Crack, the shot travels across the canyon with deadly precision, striking the enemy commander who had tried to flank their position. 6 shots, 6 kills or disabling hits. 0 misses. The remaining hostiles break, completely abandoning equipment as they flee deeper into the jungle. Their tactical advantage has evaporated like morning mist. Elena doesn't celebrate. She simply works the bolt of her rifle chambers another round and continues scanning for threats through her scope. Professional, methodical, deadly. Harris's mind races backward through military databases, searching for connections. Female SEAL support personnel were rare enough to be memorable. A sniper with these skills would have left records, rumors, legends. Then it hits him like a physical blow. The ghost vet. Harris breathes. The stories were whispered in training facilities and officer clubs across the Navy. A female Marine sniper attached to SEAL operations in Afghanistan. Official records listed her as support personnel, but unofficial accounts painted her as something far more significant. She had allegedly saved multiple SEAL teams through impossible shots, earned nicknames that became legend, then disappeared from service after a classified mission went wrong. Harris had assumed the stories were exaggerated the way all military legends grow in the telling. But watching Elena work, he realizes every impossible tale might have been understatement. Through the radio, Elena's voice comes calm and professional. "SEAL Team 7, this is Overwatch. Your road to extraction is clear, but you need to move now. Weather window closes in 15 minutes. Rodriguez stares at his radio. Overwatch. She's using proper tactical designation. Elena continues. Follow the deer trail northwest from your position, 70 meters to a natural bridge across the creek. From there, maintain a heading 270 degrees for approximately half a click. Your extraction point will be clearly marked." The precision of her instructions, the casual use of military terminology, the way she's taken command of their tactical situation, everything confirms Harris's suspicion. As the team prepares to move, Elena appears beside them like smoke given form. She's discarded the ghillie suit, returning to her role as the unassuming civilian guide. But her eyes remain sharp, continuously scanning their perimeter. "Ma'am," Harris begins, but Elena cuts him off with a slight shake of her head. "We need to move," she says simply. "Discussion later." The extraction proceeds exactly as Elena described. The deer trail leads to a fallen log that bridges the creek perfectly. The heading she provided brings them to a clearing where their helicopter waits, rotors already turning. Only when they're airborne does Elena allow herself to relax. She sits apart from the team, cleaning her rifle with the same methodical care they witnessed on the first day. But now they understand what they're seeing, a master craftsman maintaining the tool of her trade. Harris approaches carefully. Elena Torres. Gunnery Sergeant Elena Torres, Marine Corps Scout Sniper, attached to SEAL Team Operations Afghanistan, 2018 to 2021. Elena doesn't look up from her rifle. That person doesn't exist anymore. Bullshit. Harris sits beside her. I've heard the stories. Operation Neptune's spear support, the Kandahar incident. 6 SEAL teams owe their lives to shots that shouldn't have been possible. For the first time, Elena meets his eyes directly. Her expression carries weight that goes beyond military service. The burden of decisions made in split seconds, consequences carried for years. I lost my team on the last operation, she says quietly. Bad intelligence. Walked into a trap. 4 Marines died because I trusted the wrong source. Harris nods slowly. So you disappeared. I retired, tried to find peace in a quiet life. Elena gestures toward the canyon they just escaped. But some skills don't retire, and in the distance, the jungle fades beneath clouds. Elena touches the SEAL Trident tattoo on her wrist, not with pride, but with the reverence reserved for fallen comrades. Today you earn Elena Torres, the civilian contractor, Harris observes. You were the ghost vet? Elena finally allows herself a small smile. Today I remembered why they used to call me that. The change in atmosphere is immediate and profound. Where hours earlier, the SEALs had treated Elena as little more than baggage, now they approach her with the cautious respect reserved for proven warriors. Martinez, who had complained about her slowing them down now, stands at attention when she passes. The transformation isn't performed, it comes from genuine recognition of what they witnessed. When Elena checks Private Chen's wounded shoulder, Martinez holds the medical kit without being asked, anticipating her needs with the deference due to superior experience. Thank you, ma'am, Chen says quietly as Elena rebandages his wound with practiced efficiency. The formal address comes naturally stripped of the casual dismissiveness that had characterized their earlier interactions. Jenkins finds himself unable to meet Elena's eyes directly. The young SEAL who had mocked her appearance now understands he was judging a legend by her cover. When she asks him to help redistribute ammunition, he responds with crisp military bearing. Yes, ma'am. Right away, ma'am. The weight of his earlier comments hangs in the air between them. Elena works quietly, checking each team member for injuries or equipment damage, but Jenkins can't escape the knowledge that he had laughed at someone whose little finger possessed more combat experience than his entire career. I'm sorry, ma'am. Jenkins finally manages his voice barely audible above the helicopter's rotor wash. I didn't know. I should have shown respect. Elena pauses in her equipment check, studying the young man's face. She sees genuine remorse, not the hollow apologies that come from being caught. You couldn't have known, she replies simply. That was the point. Rodriguez approaches with his own rifle, holding it like an offering. Ma'am, would you mind? Could you show me what I did wrong back there? Those shots you made, I've never seen precision like that. Elena takes his weapon, examines the scope settings and barrel wear with professional interest. Your fundamentals are solid, she says, but you were fighting the environment instead of using it. Wind elevation, humidity, they're not obstacles to overcome. They're tools to employ. She hands back the rifle. The enemy sniper knew that canyon intimately. You were trying to outshoot him on his home ground. I just changed the rules. Willis, the backup marksman, listens intently. How do you account for all those variables simultaneously? Practice, Elena answers. Thousands of rounds, hundreds of scenarios, and accepting that sometimes the shot that saves lives isn't the one that gets recorded in your service record. Commander Harris approaches the group, moving with the measured steps of someone carrying significant internal weight. When he reaches Elena, he does something that surprises even his own team. He renders a full military salute. Gunnery Sergeant Torres, Harris says formally, on behalf of SEAL Team 7, I want to express our gratitude for your actions today. You saved American lives under impossible circumstances. Elena's response to the salute is automatic muscle memory from years of military service. But she holds the position longer than necessary, as if acknowledging not just Harris, but the ghosts of every SEAL team she had supported in the past. You would have found a way through, Elena replies. SEALs always do. Harris lowers his salute but maintains his position of attention. Maybe, but not with everyone going home intact. Just turn him on. The helicopter begins its descent toward base, and Elena returns to her seat. She doesn't engage in the usual post-mission debrief chatter. Instead, she stares out the window at the passing landscape, lost in memories that the team can only imagine. The transformation is complete. Elena Torres, the overlooked civilian guide, has become Elena Torres, the ghost vet, a figure of respect, mystery, and quiet authority. But the weight of that recognition seems to settle on her shoulders like a burden rather than an honor. Martinez notices her isolation and approaches carefully. Ma'am, will you be returning to active duty? Elena's smile carries sadness that goes deeper than military service. This was a one-time exception. Tomorrow I go back to stocking shelves and being invisible. But they all know that's impossible now. Once you've seen the ghost vet in action, she can never truly disappear again. 3 weeks after the mission, Elena Torres returns to her night shift at the supermarket. The fluorescent lights buzz overhead as she arranges products on metal shelves, the same routine that had defined her civilian existence before 8 Navy SEALs stumbled into her carefully constructed anonymity. But invisibility, once broken, proves impossible to restore completely. The story spreads through military networks with the persistent force of water finding cracks in stone. Not through official channels, the mission remains classified, filed away in databases that few will ever access. Instead, it travels through the informal networks that bind military communities together. Late-night conversations in training facilities, casual mentions during equipment checks, whispered exchanges in mess halls across naval installations. Ghost vets saved a SEAL team in Central America. The details change with each telling, but the core truth remains constant. When elite warriors faced impossible odds, a forgotten hero emerged from retirement to prove that some skills transcend service records. At basic underwater demolition, SEAL training, and Coronado instructors, who normally deal in hard facts and measurable performance, find themselves sharing Elena's story during evening formation. Not as official curriculum, but as something more powerful proof that legends sometimes walk among ordinary people. There was this Marine sniper, the stories begin. Attached to SEAL operations, they called her the Ghost Vet because she'd appear when teams needed her most, then vanish back into civilian life. Recruits lean forward in the darkness, hungry for stories that connect their brutal training to something larger than personal achievement. In Elena's tale, they find inspiration that transcends branch rivalry and service politics. The legend takes on its own momentum. Active duty snipers debate her techniques during training exercises. Intelligence specialists search databases for classified operations that might have involved her participation. Even senior officers, men and women with decades of their own combat experience, find themselves curious about the mysterious figure who emerged from retirement to save an endangered SEAL team. Commander Harris receives unofficial inquiries from colleagues who have heard fragments of the story. Is it true about the female Marine sniper? 6 shots, 6 hits, impossible conditions? Harris provides no details about classified operations, but his expression tells a story that words cannot. Respect mixed with amazement, professional admiration, touched by something approaching awe. Meanwhile, Elena continues her quiet existence in the small town outside the naval base. She stocks shelves, eats cold sandwiches during breaks, and maintains her weathered rifle with the same methodical care that once made her legendary. But change has found her despite her efforts to avoid it. Customers at the supermarket notice her differently now. Some are retired military personnel who recognize something in her bearing that they hadn't perceived before. Others are family members of active duty service personnel who have heard whispered stories about a civilian woman who saved Navy SEALs. They don't approach her directly. Instead, they offer small acknowledgments, respectful nods, brief eye contact that carries weight, occasional words of thanks that reference no specific incident, but somehow communicate deep gratitude. Elena accepts these interactions with the same quiet dignity she brings to everything else. She doesn't encourage conversation about her military service, but neither does she deny the respect offered by those who recognize her true identity. On quiet evenings in her small apartment, Elena cleans her M40A3 rifle with ritualistic precision. The weapon sits in a place of honor next to photographs of Marines she served with in Afghanistan, faces frozen in time representing bonds that death cannot break. The rifle represents more than military service now. It's become a bridge between past and present, a reminder that some responsibilities transcend official duty. When Elena lifts the weapon, she can feel the weight of every life it has saved, every impossible shot it has delivered, when failure meant death for American service members. Outside her window, lights from the naval base flicker in the distance. Somewhere out there, new SEAL teams prepare for missions that will test their skills and courage. Some will face situations where conventional tactics prove insufficient, where impossible shots become the difference between survival and tragedy. Elena Torres, the Ghost Vet, remains ready. Not officially, not according to any military database or service record, but in the way that matters most, with skills maintained, equipment prepared, and the unbreakable commitment that defines true warriors regardless of their official status. The legend lives because the woman behind it understands that some services never truly end. Elena Torres teaches us that heroism rarely announces itself with fanfare. It moves quietly through our world-stocking shelves in late-night supermarkets, wearing weathered clothes and comfortable shoes, carrying extraordinary capabilities beneath ordinary appearances. We meet legends every day without recognizing them. The elderly man reading newspapers at the coffee shop might have stormed beaches in World War II. The quiet woman at the grocery checkout could have saved lives in operating rooms across 3 decades. The soft-spoken teacher who never raises his voice may have led soldiers through impossible situations. Elena's story reminds us that judgment based on appearance blinds us to the depth around us. Those who have seen the most, done the most, often speak the least. They understand that true strength doesn't require constant display. When circumstances demanded it, Elena Torres transformed from invisible guide to legendary sniper in a single moment. But when the crisis passed, she returned to invisibility by choice, not defeat. That choice to remain ready without seeking recognition represents heroism in its purest form. If you believe stories like Elena's deserve to be remembered and shared, hit like and subscribe. You are the one who helps us keep these memories alive, ensuring that quiet heroes receive the recognition they've earned but never demanded.
I just want to take a moment to say a huge thank you to each and every one of you. Folded hands, your love, support, likes, comments, and subscriptions mean the world to me. Without you, this journey wouldn't be possible. Every view, every share, and every encouraging word keeps me motivated to create more content for you all. I'm truly grateful to have such an amazing community by my side. Let's keep growing together and making this journey even more special. Red Heart.